So good morning all students who has joined this internship program. I hope you have a nice experience of learning in this period. And as Sukruti ma'am has said, you have morning and evening sessions for the next 2 weeks. So you have to gear up because this definitely is going to be a learning experience on your behalf. And you have to put your best foot forward for this. Now, for this introductory session, I'll just give you a brief glimpse of what is IoT. This is a very basic idea. So let me share my screen with you all. So is it visible? Sukriti, is my screen visible to you?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes, so I can
Yes,
start. So today I'll be talking on the Internet of Things. Now the outline of today's talk in this next 30-40 minutes is going to be, what is IoT? Why do we need it? What are its benefits? What are the features, that is the IoT architecture? What are the advantages and the challenges which we face in an IoT environment, and what are its applications? I'll share a few videos also with you to enhance your understanding. We come to the first point, that is what is IoT? Now different users, manufacturers, organizations, they have all coined different definitions for IoT. But the two most things which struck with me was, the first definition goes as, it is a world where all the devices and appliances are connected to a network and are used collaboratively to achieve complex tasks that require a high degree of intelligence. Note down one thing, I have highlighted few words. First one is connected, the second one is collaboratively, and the third one is complex task, right? So we'll keep in mind these three words. The second definition is, Internet of Things is an interaction between the physical world and the digital world using sensors and actuators. Okay. To coin a more common man terminology or common man understanding of what is IoT, I'll take an example of the mobile phones. The mobile phones that we are using, in fact, the way you have joined this meeting, either by using a desktop or a mobile or a tablet or your laptop, whatever device maybe you are using, it definitely is mostly connected to the internet. And internet connection is a wonderful thing. It gives us all sorts of benefits which were just not possible before. Now in our times, when we were like you, during those times we used to have cell phones, but those cell phones were not smart enough. Why? Because they were not connected to the internet. Surely using those cell phones, I could make calls, we could even SMS. But then we could not read any book using that cell phone during those times. We could not watch any movie, or we could not listen to any song in the palm of our hand. But nowadays we are able to. Why? Because it is connected to the internet. So these features like reading a book or watching a movie or listening to a song, these are just one of the few incredible things that our smartphones can nowadays do, right? So if I put in very simply, the Internet of Things is actually taking all the things in the world and then connecting them to the internet. So nowadays our phones are equipped with GPS tracking, a mobile gyroscope, adaptive brightness, voice detection, facial detection, to name just a few features. So we are connecting everyday things like our car, our fridge, washing machines, household appliances to the internet, so as to enable them to collect data and exchange the data amongst themselves. Now, when something is connected to the internet, that means that it can send information or receive information or do both. This ability to send and or receive information makes the things smart, and smart is good. So let's use smartphones again as an example. Right now, you can listen to any song in the world using your smartphone. But it's not because your phone actually has every song stored inside it. It's because every song in the world is stored somewhere, and our phones can send information asking for that song and then receive information, that means streaming that song on our phone. So to be smart, a thing does not have to have super storage, or it does not need a supercomputer inside it. All it has to do is to connect to the super storage or connect to the supercomputer. So being connected is awesome. In the Internet of Things, all the things we are connecting to the internet, or we are connecting devices to the internet. So this is one more slide in which you can see there is a home in which the door lock, the AC, the lights, they are all connected to the internet. So at the end of the day, when I'm coming home from my car only, I can unlock my door. I can set the AC at the right temperature. I can adjust the lighting to suit my mood. And this I can do from a distance. Even my car maybe have a screen which will tell me what is the fuel limit, whether I am exceeding the speed, or where is my position, like what is my proximity to my home. So all these features are possible with the help of Internet of Things. Now we are taking one more scenario, like a patient is there, he is at home with some monitoring system to monitor his BP, maybe his pulse rate, etc. All those information are sent via the internet to a hospital which is located remotely. So in the hospital, all these parameters which are being recorded are monitored continuously so as to understand what is the health of the person or the patient. And if any irregular condition is monitored, then the hospital is notified in advance. Now, what is the advantage of this notification? Maybe the hospital will send an ambulance if required. And even before the ambulance takes the patient to the hospital, doctors are ready with the prescriptions. Maybe they will fetch the medicines which are required. And even if a critical situation like requiring a surgery, then the operation theater may be kept ready even before the advent of the patient to the hospital. These are the situations in which IoT becomes very, very important and beneficial. So why do we need IoT? Because we are trying to expand the collaboration between human beings. How do we expand the collaboration? By interaction and contribution of everyone to make them enable things which require more intelligence or more efforts that we are doing easily with the help of IoT devices. So benefits of IoT are, first of all, we can efficiently use the resources, minimizing human efforts, thereby saving time, and develop some artificial intelligence in the devices, and also improve the security. What are the features of IoT? Now, remember those three words which I had mentioned at the beginning: collect, collaborate, complex task. So I'm having those three words again: connect. When I say collaborate, it means I am analyzing the data which is collected and integrating those to achieve those complex tasks. So coming again to the features, again to the collect data, collate and transfer data and analyze the data. Let me say that when I am connecting my devices to the internet, I can classify those things in three categories. First of all, the things which are collecting the information and sending it. Second category are the things which will receive the information and then act on it. And thirdly, there are things which can do both, that is both send data as well as receive data. Now, all of these three have enormous benefits that feed on each other. Come to the first law, that is collecting and sending informations. So basically, Sensors are the devices which can collect the data. Sensors could be temperature sensor, motion sensor, moisture sensor, air quality sensor, light sensor, you name it, you have a sensor for it. These sensors, along with a connection, allow us to automatically collect information from the environment, which in turn allows us to make more intelligent decisions. I am taking the example of farming. On the farm, automatically getting information about the soil moisture can tell the farmers exactly when their crops need to be watered instead of watering them too much or watering too little. Thus, the farmer can ensure that the crops will get the right amount of water and hence more money for the farmers and more food for the world. Now come to the second category of devices or things which will receive and act on the information. We are very familiar with machines getting information and then acting on it. For example, our printer receives a document and then prints it. Our car receives a signal from the car keys and the door opens. And these examples are endless. So whether it's as simple as sending the command turn on or turn off, or as complex as giving a 3D model to the 3D printer, we know that we can tell the machines to do from a distance, from far away. Now, the third category of things which could both send information and receive information. So we go back to the farming example. The sensors which were analyzing the soil moisture or humidity or the light or the temperature, that can collect the information and tell the farmer how much to water the crops, right? Now, maybe that the farmer does not need to do anything, or instead the irrigation system can automatically turn on the sprinklers as needed based on how much moisture is in the soil. So in the first case, the things which could sense the information or collect the information were just the sensors which were collecting the data. The farmer, on the other hand, could receive that information and do the needful. And in the third case, the sensors are sensing the information and switching on the sprinklers by themselves without the farmer intervention. Okay. Even we can take it a step further. If the irrigation system receives some information about the weather from its internet connection, it can also know when it's going to rain and decide whether or not to water the crops today, because it's going to rain anyhow, and it does not stop there. All this information about the soil moisture, how much irrigation system is watering the crops, and how well the crops actually grow can be collected and sent to a supercomputers, which will run some amazing algorithms that will make some sense of that information. Okay, so all these supercomputers who are analyzing the information, they form a part of IoT, which is called as cloud computing. But we are not going into that. This is just an introductory session. So these are some of the features like collecting data, transferring that data, and analyzing that data to make some meaningful information out of it. These are all features of IoT system. Now coming to the architecture. There is no single consensus or no single agreement about what is the standard architecture of an IoT network which is accepted universally. So there are different people who are differing in their opinions, whether it has to be a 3-layered architecture, 5-layer architecture, 7-layer architecture, and so on. So I'm showing you the basic 3-layered architecture, and then we'll see the 5-layer architecture of IoT network. So when we see these layers, starting from the lowest one, that is the perception layer. It is termed as perception layer because we are perceiving the data or sensing the data. So obviously this layer will comprise of the sensors which will gather the information about the physical environment. Okay, so what is the role of the perception layer? It will sense the physical parameters or identify any other object in its environment. Now, after sensing those, it is the network layer on top of the perception layer which is responsible for connecting those smart things or smart devices. And also this network layer is responsible for transmitting and processing the sensor data. So the network layer over here has dual responsibility of connecting the things and of processing the sensor data. On top of it lies the application layer. So what is the role of the application layer? It is responsible for delivering the application specific services to the user. So it is basically the end user requirement getting fulfilled by this application layer. If I consider a different IoT ecosystem, which has got 5 layers. So which layers are new over here? We see a transport layer, we see a transport layer, a processing layer, and a business layer added to the previous one. We start from the bottom, that is the first layer, which is the perception layer. Again, it comprises of the sensors, which is gathering information about its environment. Now, transport layer will transfer the sensor data in between the lower layers to its higher layer using technologies. What are the technologies which are used? Wireless technologies, 3G, nowadays it is 4G, 5G also is coming, maybe a LAN, Bluetooth, RFID, NFC, Zigbee, name it. There are numerous technologies which are used for transfer of sensor data. On top of the transport layer, we have a processing layer. The role of the processing layer is to store those information, analyze those information, and process huge amount of data. So here we have the servers who are running algorithms, who are using the data, who are basically crunching all the data which are gathered by the sensors and then transferred by the transport layer. So here we see what is called as cloud computing and big data analysis modules being employed. Now, once this processing layer has finished all the data crunching and data storing, analyzing, etc., the results of this has to be passed to the end user. So we have the application layer on top of the processing layer. Now these are related to the services which each and every single user or nodes can receive. But if an organization has multiple nodes, thousands of clients maybe or thousands of users, then to manage all these endpoints, we require one more layer on top, which is called as the business layer. So it will manage the whole IoT system, including thousands of endpoints or thousands of applications, business and profit models. And it will also look for the user privacies of the data which are being transmitted from the lowest to the highest layer. So in doing all this, there are certain challenges which are seen by an IoT network. The first challenge is insufficient testing and updating. There are thousands of people who are designing IoT, but then not all of them are testing it properly and updating, because of which sometimes those IoT networks are vulnerable to attacks. And if they are attacked by some means, by hackers or some bots, then there is a concern regarding the data security and privacy. After all, it is the user data which is traveling through the internet. So there are security concerns and privacy concerns which comes as a disadvantage for IoT networks. Also, the software complexity is a challenge because we have connected huge amount of devices. In fact, to give you a real estimate of data, by the year 2025, around 75 billion active devices will be connected to the internet. When I say 75 billion, the figure comes to your mind. And when I say active device, it means all these devices are going to transmit real-time data to the internet. So you can imagine the volume of data which will be transmitted to the cloud platforms. So all the servers which are there in the cloud, which will be running algorithms, they have to deal with a huge amount of data. So software complexity definitely will increase. And as I said, data volumes and their interpretation will become difficult. And also along with this, the integration with AI and automation definitely it becomes a challenge. Now, regardless of all this, the lower two points, which is device requires a constant power supply, which is difficult, and the interaction and short range communication. I think these are the two most important challenges which are faced by any device which is connected to a IoT network. Again, I take the example of the mobile phones. Now, if you remember, our cell phones, if I don't connect to the internet, I just go on calling people or sending SMS, that does not consume much battery power. But the moment I'm connected to the internet and I'm streaming data, maybe I'm streaming some video or listening to some songs, then my battery gets drained off real fast. And if any device needs to be continuously connected to the internet, for example, the patient whose parameters are being monitored by the remote hospital, then definitely the power drain is extremely high. So this is one of the major challenges of making an IoT network. And the last point, which is interaction and short range communication. Now, these devices, when we connect to the internet, definitely we require either Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or RFID or any connectivity, right? So a lot of bandwidth is required. So bandwidth is very, very important. Bandwidth saving is very, very important. So we need to have some communication means in which I'm not wasting the bandwidth also. These two are very important challenge which are posed in IoT framework. So few of the advantages of IoT, you can see on the slide, some points are written as technical optimization, like improved data collection, reducing waste, and improved customer engagement. See, from layman point of view, if I want to say, I'll say that the advantage of IoT is ability to access information from anywhere, at any point of time, on any device, which is connected. The second is improved communication between connected electronic devices. The third point would be to transfer data over a connected network, thus saving money and time. And fourth one is automating tasks, helping to improve the quality of a business, the services, and thereby reducing the need for human intervention. Some of the disadvantages of IoT are, as the number of connected devices increases and more information is shared between devices, the potential that a hacker could steal confidential information also increases. So security is one of the disadvantage. Next, enterprises may eventually have to deal with massive numbers, maybe millions and billions of IoT devices, and collecting and managing the data from all those devices will be challenging. So it is the complexity of designing the IoT system. Third point, if there is a bug in the system, it is likely that every connected device will also become corrupted. So designing the security and privacy of a IoT network is definitely challenging, which comes sometimes as a disadvantage to the IoT network. The fourth point is, since there is no international standard of compatibility for IoT, it is difficult for devices from different manufacturers to communicate with each other. So compliance is again an issue. One point which has not been mentioned here is scalability. So as more and more number of devices are getting plugged to the internet, there has to be some means by which we can accommodate them. So scalability becomes a major issue for IoT networks. A few applications, energy conservation, transports getting smarter, improved social life and entertainment, smart agriculture, home automation, smart environment, health and fitness, supply chain and logistics. These are some of the points. I'm going to elaborate a few of them. The first one being a smart home. A smart home having improved security features, energy conservation, like when a person is there at home, the lights, fans, ACs will be on. When the person leaves, automatically they will be switched off. Entertainment, hassle-free lifestyle, all these features you can see with the help of a small video which I have which I'd like to share with you. So let's see the video. So we had a nice video on a fully automated home. And in fact, the office and the cars are also connected to the internet. So makes our life really easy, saves a lot of time and efforts. Yeah, it definitely improves the standard of living. Apart from it, we can have smart parking system where from a distance only you can know like whether a parking place has some space for our cars or not, and in fact which slot is empty. That information can also be shown in our mobile app which is connected to that gateway meant for the parking space. One more example, it's that of a smart healthcare system or the fit belts which we have and put on our wrist, which takes takes a record of our health, how much exercise we should be doing, and all those information are passed via the cloud to the doctor who are monitoring our health on a regular basis. Next example is that of a smart city. Like we have all the things, city in the palm of our hand. Features like e-governance and citizen services, energy management, waste management, urban mobility, water management, and others like telemedicine, teleeducation, etc. And all these things will become more and more vogue in India also. These are some of the smart city components like smart manufacturing, digital citizens, smart buildings, transportation, etc. Examples of smart cities across the globe are Missouri, San Diego, New York, Toronto, Singapore, Vienna, Tokyo, London, Melbourne, Dubai, Hong Kong, etc. Now, till now we have no names from India, but maybe in a few days or few years, the names of Indian cities will also come in the picture. So to summarize, what is IoT? Again, I have a small video for you.
By now, you may have heard the term Internet of Things. Sounds interesting, but what does the Internet of Things actually mean? IoT is an evolution of mobile, home, and embedded applications that are being connected to the internet, integrating greater compute capabilities and using data analytics to extract meaningful information. Billions of devices will be connected to the internet, and soon, hundreds of billions of devices. As related devices connect with each other, they can become an intelligent system of systems. And when these intelligent devices and systems of systems share data over the cloud and analyze it, they can transform our businesses, our lives, and our world in countless ways. Whether it's improving medical outcomes, creating better products faster with lower development costs, making shopping more enjoyable, or optimizing energy generation and consumption. Here's an example of the big picture. Imagine an intelligent device such as a smart traffic camera. The camera can monitor the road for congestion, accidents, and weather conditions, and communicate that status to a gateway that combines it with data from other cameras, creating an intelligent citywide traffic system. Now, imagine that intelligent traffic system connected to other citywide transportation systems, which get data from their own intelligent devices, creating an ever larger intelligent system of systems. The really big possibilities come from analyzing the end-to-end data across that system of systems. For example, let's say the city's intelligent traffic system detects massive congestion due to an accident. That insight can be sent to the citywide transportation system, which can analyze the accident's impact on other city systems. Recognizing the accident is near the airport and two city schools, it could notify those systems so they can adjust flight and school schedules. It can also analyze and derive optimal routes around the accident and send those instructions to the city's digital signage system to guide drivers around the accident. And that's just one example of the potential benefits that can happen when intelligent devices share insight with other systems, forming ever-expanding systems of systems.
So I hope you have understood what is IoT from a simple, very simple perspective. So thank you all for the patient hearing. I'll stop this screen share now.